man that would really like to invest in Gambia. I'm already doing that. However, I am facing enormous obstacles with regard to what I'm doing in Gambia. A lot of them, but I'll outline more. I have a lot of customers here that hand me over their goods and I ship them to Gambia. But at this stage in time, it is absolutely difficult to ship a container to Gambia with huge amount of inspection going on with the United States. Also, when they do arrive in Gambia, they even leave the Gambian port, move to other West African ports, offload in those ports, and then head back to Gambia, making their last stop. And I have an email from GMA and all the places that we send our goods. The reason is, it's only one machine at the port in Gambia that offloads these containers. So what is your government doing to help investors not to be absolutely frustrated and say, look, investing in Gambia, you just outlined that we need to go and invest in Gambia. We shouldn't worry about the amount of money we have. I'm investing in other sectors as well. But this sector I'm investing in is absolutely frustrating. And I have customers that call me every day. When are my goods gonna be there? I have to give excuse, and they're here, they're sitting right here. What is your government doing to remedy this situation? Thank you so much. My name is Mustafa Jao, and I'm from Farafin.
Mustafa, thank you very much. I think this is a very pertinent question. And it's an important one, and it's affecting you and many other Gambians who are engaged in shipping business in other cities across the United States and even in Europe. And this problem needs to be resolved. You know, since the change of government, since the departure of the dictatorship, one thing that quickly happened in the Gambia was the exponential increase in the business interest in the Gambia. The number of vessels that started pouring into Gambia had never happened in the past before. So the operations there really overwhelmed our current capacity. So you are talking about the machine, but it's even more than the machine. The entire port facility is now much smaller compared to the incoming traffic. So we need to expand and modernize our ports. And government is fully aware of this. This is also one area where we really need private sector investment. Because like I've said, with that kind of debt body we have in now, 120% to our GDP, it is not advisable. Even the World Bank has discouraged us from contracting new loans. And government by itself does not have the funding to do the expansion of the ports. But government has been talking with a number of companies who are interested in coming to the Gambia and help expand our ports using different models. I don't know the details of the models, but I know there were 2 Chinese companies that were interested and they were talking to government. And I know the port of Dubai was also in the Gambia examining the ports to see what they can do. And I also know Bolloré in France was also interested, and they were talking to Gambia government officials to see what can be done. So this is a huge priority because the port is one of our strengths as a country. You know that. We are well located because of that port. It's nowhere, it's not far from anywhere, to Europe or to America. So government is fully aware of this, and these efforts are already on the way to get the best possible deal for the Gambia so that we can expand those ports. And I also know, I'm not an expert, but I also know that they've been talking about other dry ports elsewhere, in Basse and somewhere else in Combo. So we have massive port facilities, then this congestion and delay will be a thing of the past. Thank you very much. I hope that answers your question.
Your Honorable Ambassador. Mine is not a question or anything like that. I'll just turn a little bit. I just spent the last month and a half in Gambia. My own is sort of a report of what I see and notice that's going on. Okay, I spent a few days in Senegal. So from what it is my business, you know, people might say that's not your business, but I see the infiltration that's going on for China and other countries. Now on the road from Senegal to Gambia, it's not what we used to see it to be. You know, everything has been infiltrated, everything has been cleaned off almost all the way to Gambia. All of the huts are gone. And I was like, what happened? They started building like tiny little infrastructures. Because from what I've read, the Chinese people are running out of space to harvest rice for their country. So they looked at different countries to figure out what can we do? Because they will not have, in 50 years, they will not have enough rice to feed their own country, let alone to be dispersing rice all over the United States, all over Africa, because that's where we all get it from for the embargoes that are going on. But now they have every moving equipment. They had 10 to 20 ships on dock in Senegal, and just teaching the people how to do farming, how to move buildings, how to do everything. So even if you go there tomorrow, you will notice from Senegal to Gambia, it's not the same anymore. Everything has been swept off, cleaned off, and getting ready for their projects. So I'm looking at now, well, what are we doing? You know, you have the Chinese people who are taking over the whole country, and we sit down eating guillotine every day. So I'm sorry, sir. I just wanted to make that report because some of us have not been. And then I take my daughter, I'm trying to teach her, you know, they had a project going in college that they were trying to figure out. Fatu, where are you? Right here. Okay, yeah, so you're sitting down. They were doing a project trying to figure out what could they do to help the country. Okay, everything was on paper. They put in everything on paper, trying to figure out, I think it had something to do with the sewer system, water, you know, hygiene, all of this stuff. So they sit in the classroom at A&T trying to figure out what they could do for Africa. And then it dawned on her while we were there, you actually have to be there to see what's going on before you can do anything. So we just started taking camera footage everywhere, let you see what's going on, so you can say, hey, let your light bulb go off. I'm sorry, I don't want to take it over, but I just want to know everybody's doing something except the people, you know, that they come from there, that live there. You know the place, you know what's going on, and then we're not doing nothing. But I just wanted to put that out there. Your country is changing, and other people are making it happen. So on our end, we can do something too.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jammeh.
I think I want to just comment on this quickly, just shortly. I think this is a genuine concern. I think you speak for many Africans. Because China is all over Africa. And they've been all over Africa for a long time. And I know part of the reason why African governments are attracted to China is because of the simplicity of transacting contracts, business with China, Chinese government, compared to World Bank or traditional partners. And this concern you express, even when I met US officials, they always tell me the same thing. They said, be careful, Mr. Ambassador. Don't mortgage the future of your country to China. And I always said, yes, sir, we don't want to do that. But I also want America to be sitting at the table. We want other partners to come to the table as China is there already. Because, you know, Africa had needs for highways and electricity and bridges. And obviously we don't have what it takes to do it for ourselves. It's unfortunate for now. China comes in to say, here, I can do a highway for you. I can do a bridges for you. So the temptation to get into Chinese whatever, it's very high. So one way to deal with that is to get other investors coming on the ground, including our own African diaspora. You are powerful, you have experience, you have resources, you have partnerships. All of you should be scrambling over Africa now to destroy the Chinese. But I also think with the coming of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, those things will be minimized, because then we have the power to negotiate properly for ourselves, rather than China is a big country negotiating with a small country like Gambia or Liberia or Sierra Leone. It's not going to be easy. But now we have this global body, is 1.2 million people market. That's going to be a different thing altogether. This is a concern I share with you, but it's a very difficult one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name is Augustus.
Say your name, where you come from, so the ambassador knows.
Well, he met me in Charlotte, so of course I'm from Charlotte.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. Well,
Yeah.
I'm from Faraga. Yes. I don't know if mine might not be a question for you, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the day you prepare a report for your boss and it goes back to him. I have always asked myself this question: how does the chief financier become the poorest guy? Because us here, when you look at it, our foreign remittance account for a lot of percentage into the GDP. Now, we feel like the government is not investing when it comes to us. We are not provided housing schemes, because you're talking about how the government is investing into China and has no people to invest in. And I'm pretty sure the government could have invested on us, where you provide us housings at a cheaper rate to where we pay. Because oftentimes, many people that are in this building, our biggest problem is when we gather our little currencies and we send it home, it becomes another problem. You invest, and when you go home, there's nothing there for you. So if the government stands and says, okay, these are my people, I gotta take care of them, okay, then we have that sense of security that, okay, one day we wanna go back home and we find something there. And again, my biggest worry about the new government and the newfound democracy, which is sweet, but then the rate of corruption is going very high. And I'm pretty sure that it's becoming an alarming situation to where I'm pretty sure some people in this building, they're averaging $1 million if you look at it at the gross income. So if I can't afford to build a house, how comes I'm looking at a Secretary of State building a house at a 15 million? That is a problem for us. So when you go back to your boss, maybe these are things that needs to be discussed. There's too much expenses that are going in and out of the country. So how do we move forward? How do we move at a jet lag? Because Gambia we moving at the direction we're moving is good, but it's very slow. We have to be innovative, and it's not happening. So how do you provide a housing scheme for us? Okay, I'm very well aware that there's a foreign desk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for people in the diaspora, but what is the connection? Because I myself, I've tried to get in touch to see what is there for us. Like he says, we try to ship stuff, it takes 3 months to get to Gambia. Why? So again, those are our problems here. Housing and just the in and outs.
And the corruption.
Yes.
Thank you. Great question. Now, I just said in my statement that in a democracy, government should be responsible for regulating the environment. Government is not a good businessman, even here. So, even in the new constitution that we are writing, we have met several Gambians here, I've been with them all over the place. And everywhere we went, people said the powers of government should be reduced. Which I think is a popular call by the population. So, when it comes to business, about estates, I think everywhere that's the private sector is very suitable for the private sector to get into it. And I think currently there is nothing in our laws that will prevent anyone who has the resources and the plan to get into a real estate business in Gambia to be barred from doing so. TAF is already doing it in the Gambia, and is reaching out to many members of the diaspora who are buying his houses. Some say it's too expensive, some say it's substandard, but whatever the facility is there. And I think other people can do it too. This is why I said those of you who have these ideas, you need to come back to the Gambia, organize yourselves and do something for your country. This is one area you can do something, make money for yourself, and also help many other people who are living abroad. All right? Now, relating to corruption, I can tell you something. If you want to fight corruption, the best way to do it is to create transparent structures in government, particularly the media. The media is one of the most important watchdogs for corruption. And today, the media landscape in the Gambia is, nobody will say it's controlled. It's just like the US, and it's all over the place. And I think, in my own view, that's helping to fight corruption. Because they expose them when they see. When they see something, they expose it, and people don't want to be exposed. So I think government just need to move in the right direction, make the media free, and then create transparent structures, empower the oversight institutions such as the National Assembly Finance and Accounts Committee, the Ombudsman, the Public Service Commission, the National Audit Office. These need to be strengthened, these oversight institutions, so that they actively ensure that corruption is fought with all our might. Because corruption is our enemy, all of us, everyone. And it's important. In fact, in the Constitution, when we met people in the US here, a lot of Gambians here, they called for the creation of a whistleblower in our Constitution. And some people said we should give them protection in the Constitution, and others even say we should incentivize them. So those kind of activities will help curb corruption in the long term. But I agree with you, it's a concern. Thank you.
If I may, yes, stay seated. Is okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm seated too.
Okay. My name is Hassan Baji. I'm from Kolda, Senegal. But we are the same people, no barrier. What I wanted to bring to the table is what this sister actually, I'm telling you, sorry, sister, what's your name?
Bintu Janet.
Bintu, okay. What Bintu mentioned earlier, and what the ambassador laid out. Government can only do but so much. It's all about private sector. We have to step into the table, do things, start small businesses, entrepreneurship, like microcredit. Just like the example of Dr. Yunus in Bangladesh with the Gambian Bank. He started from a small level, and he was giving loans and credits to women who was harvesting, and then now it's a huge bank, and then the repayment ratio is higher with those guys than with the traditional lending institution. So we have to go back to a grassroots level, meaning that investing, no matter how little, creating partners, being at the grassroots level, and then making sure that the sons of the continents are in the position where they should be. Like not allowing the crusaders, the Chinese or the colonizers to come up and take over again. They can come in a win-win situation, but at a decent pro-rata share, not at 50-50. If we have oil, if you have gold, they can get but so much. But we let them come in and then take a big chunk, while that money can go into health, infrastructure, education, a lot of areas where that money can be going to. So we need to mobilize in all parts of Africa, wherever we are. Form a coalition now is going in the right direction. You have some of the leaders trying to create a joint currency, which is going in the right direction with the African Union. So that is my contribution as far as what the ambassador was saying, that government can do but so little. It's all up to us. They are only in the capacity of regulatory position, maybe 5%, 10%, watching, making sure that nobody takes advantage of the other. But it lies on our shoulder to take our countries to the next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I cannot agree more with you. This is good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for coming to visit Charlotte. My name is Usman Jallo. I'm somebody, I know you're from here. But my question is, I know you said the diaspora is like the 8th administrative district in Gambia. So it means we are very important. But the issue with us sometimes is some of us that want to go home, you have to secure visas if you become a naturalized citizen here. And they give you a multiple entry, like 1 year visa. And once you get to the airport, you get 30 days stamp. So where other countries are offering their dual citizens free entry, no visa. Is that something you guys are going to look into to facilitate us people going to see their families back home?
May I add just what he said too? Also, when you secure a visa here, you pay $100. Instead of 5 years visa, they just give you
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, US gives 5 years. Why can't you get 5 years visa so that you don't have to take a visa every year? Some of us, you want to go every year, every 6 months. Each time you have to go to the consulate to look for visa. Maybe there's that need to be looked into.
I know. Thank you. My son from Badigo. The issue of visa regime is an important one, and this is a question we have been having from different stakeholders across the United States. One thing I want to emphasize here is that for our country, the Gambia, our laws have now recognized dual nationality. So in other countries, if you become a citizen of the United States or another country, you'll have to lose your home citizenship. But in the Gambia, we said no. So that means you have a right to get a Gambian passport. Even though you have an American passport, you are also entitled to a Gambian passport. That is not a privilege, it's your right. So when you get to the Gambia, you should acquire a Gambian passport. And you can travel with a Gambian passport without paying a penny, just like any other Gambian. Yes. So that option is there for all of you. I agree that there is a disparity between the duration of visa we give here to American passport holders compared to what Americans give to Gambian passport holders back home in the Gambia. And this is not right, because in a visa regime, there is what is called principles of reciprocity. So if you do me this way, I have to do it this way. So this is something even the US government has really queried us about. And I want to show you that we are currently working with Banjul and relevant stakeholders to review the current visa regime. And hopefully there will be a change in very soon. And we'll communicate it to you as soon as it's done.
That's very true, Sir Ambassador, because myself, I don't pay.
You have a Gambian passport?
Yeah, I'm a Gambian now.
Yes,
but I still obtain my American passport because I don't plan on paying for visa every time when I go to visit. When I cross the border, I just cross the border. But I pay more for everything else because you're an American, you pay more here, more taxi, more this, more that. But the visa, no, you can have both.
You can, yes, definitely. Thank you.
Folks, we have 4 more questions.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, I want to thank you again for this gathering. It means a lot to all of us. My question is this a means of communication like when somebody has an issue, like this gentleman has a shipping issue, because you will not be able to travel all over to hear what people are going through in doing business in the Gambia. Is there a means of communication in the embassy in which people can contact and say, this is what I'm going through, this is what I need help with, without going the back door, going straight forward and tell them?
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's a good question. The embassy, when we took over here after the dictatorship, our first priority has been to reconnect with the multitude of Gambians across this great state, United States. So this is we are in the second year now. Since we started, we have been crisscrossing the United States, meeting meeting folks like you, like this, to have this kind of engagement with them. And everywhere we went, we tell them, we give our addresses, and we tell them to communicate with us if they have any issues they want to be communicated back home in the Gambia. Because that's why we are here. But more importantly, we have also looked at our situation. Gambia is a small country, and we cannot afford to open consulates all across the United States because of financial reasons. It's very expensive to do so. So we have suggested to our government that we want to select 6 states in the US and appoint a Gambian to serve as honorary consul. So in those 6 states and their neighboring states, those consuls will help work with them and with us. So for you, yours will be in Raleigh. We've already identified somebody in Raleigh. We still not completed the process, but it's on. So somebody will be at Raleigh whose details will be, once everything is completed, will be widely circulated for people around here to know about, and he will be able to consult with you, and he also will be able to represent us, get consular access to our citizens when they are detained. Because if somebody is detained in Seattle, it's very expensive to fly from Washington to go to Seattle. But now we are going to have one in Seattle as well. We're going to have one in Atlanta. We're going to have one in New York. And we are going to have one in Minnesota, Minneapolis. So that I think will help. But in this day and age, you can send emails. Because I also noticed that sometimes people in the diaspora, they try to deal directly with government back home by passing the embassy. Because they think they know the minister or they know a permanent secretary or a director. I can call him and he'll do it for me. I have always informed my compatriots that yes, you may do that, but your best bet is to do so through the embassy. Because when things go through the embassy, they go through the official government channel of communication. And you can track them. And there's accountability in that communication. But when you deal with somebody on phone, it's your friend, you have known him before, it's a different thing altogether. So we are always there. If you want to do anything back home with the Gambia government, my advice to you is to use us as your conduit. We are your servants. We are there for you. We are at your service. Get to us and you will see the results. And this has been tested by some other states. For example, in Madison, I don't want to discuss the details, but there was something there that has been lying out there for a long time. They didn't deal with people, but when they sent it to the government, through the ministry, to foreign affairs, to the relevant sector, it was done easily. So I encourage you to use the embassy for now, and when these council offices are properly designated, you'll be using them more because they're closer to you. Thank you.
Two follow-up questions on the issue this man brought out about the visa. When they go back to Gambia, when they get to $100, they have 4 kids. This is what the average family here. You got $600 to Dubai for kids, pay $600 for kids. Again, I'm sure you guys have plans to work for maybe a 90-day visa-free travel. You get to Gambia, how much you stay, 90 days. You get no visas. The issue of the passports, what we encountered, and many Gambians were telling saying that none is ever there's a Russian aliens in the country, and they were and certain documents, official passports. So does your office or does the office in New York process passports in Gambia?
Good question. No, we don't. As I said, we don't, but we facilitate. Before, the embassies were empowered to do the extension of passports. But since they introduced this MR, machine readable passport, the International Convention doesn't allow extension for security reasons. So now you have, when your passport expires, it has to renew. But I know also that we now have a biometric passport back home in the Gambia that is being given to our people for traveling purposes. But government has also maintained the quantity of MR passports, basically for you, the members of the diaspora. Because if you are here, you cannot process a biometric passport because you have to be on the ground to do that because they need your fingerprint. So a lot of people come through us. Now we have a consular officer in my embassy who is from the immigration department. And he has established contact with the Department of Immigration Passport section, and we have been helping a lot of Gambians to get them passports as quickly as possible through the embassy.
And one more follow-up question. We've seen an increase in immigration tensions in the country, here in the US and elsewhere. And we've seen a surge of brothers and sisters getting deported on military reasons. And madam, we can take a whole night to discuss. Does the embassy do we have an established welfare officer that we can reach out to check on the status of these people?
We do. We have the consular office. But you know, because immigration issue is such a big issue that I think every member of the embassy is willing to communicate with anyone who calls for inquiries on that. Because it's a critical issue. You know, right now where we live in this country is not easy. So my advice to fellow Gambians and Africans in general is for those who have not yet regularized their status in this country to do so as quickly as possible. That's important. If you are in somebody's country, if you're in Gambia too, you need to regularize your status. If you're a foreigner living in the Gambia government requires you to regularize your status. Once you do that, the threat of deportation is not there. So I know it's not easy here, but people need to work towards that. Because US government, you know, is very much pursuing a very aggressive policy in terms of illegal immigration. And that is their decision. So if your national lives in another person's country and is living there according to them illegally, they have right to get the person out. You know, so what we can do as an embassy is to help our nationals to ensure that the process is done according to law, and it's also done humanely as humanely as possible to avoid any violation of your rights. That we can do. So that means if you are in an immigration trouble, it's always good to get a lawyer. Because if your case is still in the court and is not yet gone full circle in the court, we don't cooperate with the United States for your deportation. We want to make sure that the law takes its full course. But when you exhaust all your avenues within the law, then obviously you will have to go, and then we will ensure that your going is in accordance with the law. In fact, we have already appealed to the United States to ensure that they stop sending Gambians back home in large numbers and in, special flights. Because when we took over, I think the second week I got in here as an ambassador, the third week, they took about 35 or more people in a special flight. And there were reports of people being shackled and their rights violated and that kind of thing. So that caused a lot of commotion in the Gambia. So since then, I'm sure none of you have had that happen again, because we are actively engaging with them to ensure that your rights are not violated. And we'll continue to do that. Thank you.
You get a lady question.
So, my name is Fatu and last name Job. I'm from Bansan.
That's why you were saying it like this.
I need help, but I know I can do it by myself. Unfortunately, 9 years ago, I have a son that was born with disability. He got spinal bifida, and it is very unfortunate, and I was very disappointed. I didn't know nothing about it, and I went to all the websites to search for it with Gambia, how Gambia is linked. I can find no information about spinal bifida with Gambia, and I don't even know if anybody had it in the Gambia, but I was told that couple people have it, but then they end up dying because they don't get the care, which is very sad. That breaks my heart every day. And we have a big society here that can do a lot. And I know there are people in Gambia who has them, but I cannot get no contact, and I don't know them, and I can't help them if I don't know who those people are. And about 2 months ago, I found somebody who is my aunt, and then I saw a picture of a baby who is 9 months old, and the wound that was supposed to be covered and healed 3 to 4 weeks is still open, and it looked horrible. I cried the whole day. Then I was like, okay, I said, when I go to Gambia, I'm gonna create a foundation for him, because there is so much we can do from here to help the people with disability and related stuff, but I don't know how to go about it. Is there a resource or somebody to guide me through it? Because there are a lot of people over there who need the help, and they could get it. Even a little thing can help.
Thank you very much. This is a very patriotic Gambian. Thank you for that. This is a very emotional issue. The health facilities in the Gambia, and like many of our African countries, still left much to be desired. I think governments need to spend massively to improve our health facilities and care for our people, because healthcare is very, very expensive, you know that. But in the Gambia, it's almost zero. You know, so people pay very little for healthcare in the Gambia, and also, you know, the care that's also given, I think government hasn't got the capacity, you know, to fill the gap. So people get not the care they deserve. But I know one thing: Gambians want to pay for quality. There are quite a number of Gambians. Not everybody can do it, but I know there are quite a number of Gambians who travel to Senegal and they pay money for their healthcare. So while government is struggling to improve the healthcare sector in the Gambia, I think it's also important now that people who have the contacts and concerns like you with foundations or partners can come into the Gambia and open private clinics. If you do, there are so many private clinics in the Gambia now, and they get people. You know, I'm not saying that's a solution, but I know definitely healthcare nowhere, even here, cannot be free. It's very difficult for any government to provide 100% quality healthcare for its citizens. So I think it's a partnership. We all have to be part of this. So I am happy that you are asking for foundation issue. I will leave you with our number. I'll give you a contact with somebody in the embassy who will advise you how to go about it and link you with the appropriate authorities. Thank you.
One more question. Mine is linked to pass a little bit. Why is it that malaria, which is a killer, you know, this is basically in Gambia, so many people die of malaria? I'm sure you will agree with me.
I do.
I mean, most countries have controlled this disease, malaria. Here, whenever I'm traveling to Gambia, all I do is I go to my doctor, they give me pills to take. I can go there, spend 2 months, 3 months, come back, I don't get sick from malaria. Why don't Gambia government engage places like CDC here, like Center for Disease Control, to get a viable, you know, drug that can be available in our pharmacies